I'm Katie.
And I'm Roxy. Welcome
Welcome to the
to
Web
Web Pro
Pro
Podcast.
podcast.
Oh, how lovely was that?
Yeah, welcome back, people. Welcome back to the WordPro podcast. And we wanted to give you a little bit of a full circle moment there. And I think actually for us as well, right? Because
Absolutely.
we talked about this in an earlier episode that we started this podcast a whole 6 years ago, which is absolutely wild. And do you know what's been even more wild, Roxy?
What?
It has never had a name change, has it?
No.
We stuck with the WordPro podcast and it has summed us up absolutely perfectly. And actually, we've brought other things under the WordPro umbrella, which is crazy because for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, the WordPro podcast was something under the Wedding Industry Supplier Network. And we were obviously now the Wed
Goodness.
Business Hub. But yeah, we knew WordPro was the way to go all those years ago. And we really recorded those first few episodes with kind of no idea really what we were doing or where it would
All
go.
the gear, or no idea.
We had no fancy gear.
No, I was going to say, not even all the gear. I don't even think we had
I remember exactly where we were. We were in my old house
on the
Little
floor or at that
little glass dining table.
glass
Do you remember?
table. Yes.
Sat very close together because we thought like we had to be together to record a podcast and that. But I love being, and now we can never get together to record a podcast.
We would do anything to get together.
Yeah, but we just had this microphone and we're going to give this a go. And I do remember that very first episode and you at the end going, oh, I really enjoyed that actually.
Yes. It's funny because I've not always been the most confident speaking in front of people, but
We love this now.
recording. I love it.
And we love it. But we definitely didn't feel like that at the beginning. But we just wanted to bring a space, didn't we, where all the things that we wish someone else had told us when we were running our own wedding business.
And that's it. And I think that is the bones of what we wanted to give, whether it was polished, not polished, good tech, bad tech. I still remember uploading that first episode and thinking, is anyone actually going to listen to this? And then within a few weeks, we started hearing from people who said they've been listening on the school run or walking the dog or working through their editing backlog. And it hit home how needed this space really was. And
yeah, well, just on that note, I still now people will say that clients that work with us, I'll always like chat to them and say, oh, as you should all be doing, tell us your thought process, like why did you want to come and work with me and Roxy? How did you find out about us? What have you tried previously? X, Y, Z. And so many of our clients, I still find it weird now when they say, oh, I've had you in my ears for years.
it makes a little, in a good way, a little go through me because I think, oh my God.
It's just, I still can't get over it. It's still 6 years on.
Yeah.
It still is bizarre when people.
Do you want a funny one?
Pardon, go on.
I said, do you want to know a funny one? Somebody
Yeah,
told
go
me
on.
that they actually listened to us in the bath. So enjoy those bubbles.
Yeah. See, and actually, I do like it because we must be doing something right that people want to listen to us. And thank you so much. We do
Thank you.
absolutely appreciate our podcast audience. Who would have even thought that 6 years on, we would still be doing this? So that is only like you guys listening. But anyway,
To you guys out there.
bring it back to what we wanted to talk to you about today, right?
That's it. So with it being our podcast's 6th birthday, it felt only right to bring the girl band back together, just the two of us today, talking about something that is coming up a lot behind the scenes right now. And I've had my own struggles with this, and
I think everybody does.
Yeah.
I think everybody falls into the kind of a different category of this, right? But we've been hearing this little things come up of people thinking certain things in their business are blocking them, but it's actually their money mindset, right?
that's it. We are talking money mindset.
Okay, so here's what we are seeing lately. And I think there is something about the start of the year or us going into a new season or a new cycle that gets people reflecting. But so many wedding suppliers across different niches are saying similar sorts of things. They know they need to do certain things in their business. They want to raise prices. They want to stop over delivering. Or they potentially even know that they should be looking at their finances in a little bit more detail and need to get a grip on their finances. But then there seems to be just a little bit of a mental block that kicks in. And instead of taking action, they spiral into second guessing. And we've had people really understand that they know that they're undercharging. They know, I was on a call this morning with somebody, perfect example, and they know that they're undercharging, but they're backing that up by saying, in their heads, by saying, I just don't think couples will pay more, or if I raise my prices, I'll scare people off, or I'm not a numbers person, so I'll not look, or I really love my job, so I love it, so I don't want to charge anymore.
I hear that one all the time.
Yeah. And when you're already dealing with maybe things not going so right in your business, with slower inquiries, or even life, cost of living nerves in the market, economy news here, there, and everywhere, all of that fear gets louder, and you almost reconfirm those thoughts, right?
That's exactly it. And here's the thing, right? It's almost never actually about the number on your pricing sheet and what we're seeing.
Yeah. I don't care the number. You could tell me you charge 100 grand for your service. You could tell me you charge 50p for your service. I don't care what the number is.
No, people get so hung up on the number, but what we're saying over and over, and what we are saying is, it's what's underneath the number that's the issue. The beliefs, the identity stuff, I'm not good with money, that kind of narrative. The tendency to look around at what everyone else is charging and just follow suit. It's like the blind leading the blind, right? Instead of owning your own value. And what makes it even trickier is that a lot of wedding pros don't even realize they're operating from that money mindset block. And actually, I didn't realize that my money,
I honestly think
came from that as well.
I don't think people do, because this stuff, and do you ever stop and hear yourself and think, God, I say that too much? But I hear myself saying all the time. I hear myself saying the same sorts of things to people, and then that's how we know, and that's how we are like, okay, the wedding industry needs more on this, and we want to help you, like whether you're a client, and if you are a client, we work through this stuff together, or whether we can just help you be aware of it so that you can put some things into your business. But one of the things I say all the time is there's no business school. And one of our clients this week, hello, you're probably listening, because she said she does listen to this podcast.
Hi.
And she loves Roxy's cute accent in particular.
I don't know what, I was like, what, am I a little bit farmer?
Like, what is the cute accent? I don't hear the accent because we've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
But this client said she did go to business school and she didn't learn any of this stuff.
How interesting.
And I think it is the thing of, you don't know what you don't know. And actually, when you do look at these sorts of stuff, and some of the time it can be a bit scary to look at them, or it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable to look at these things, because for all sorts of reasons. But when you do look at them and you open things up, we promise it gets better on the other side, doesn't it? The road continues on the other side.
It absolutely does. Because really, as well, on paper, things in business can look fine. The bookings can be happening. Clients are happy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But behind the scenes, the business isn't profitable or sustainable, and it is draining. And a lot of this can come from money mindset blocks, which I want to say, I didn't even know was a thing before I met you, Katie. Just going to say that. Like, I didn't know it was a thing.
I didn't know. I'm trying to think, was it a thing when I met you, or?
I think you came across this phrase first and this kind of mindset.
Yeah.
And you were like, listen to this.
I saw a meme yesterday that really summed me up, and it said something like,
an actual angel. Is that what it was?
No, it wasn't an angel. It was actually like, I can't wait for empathy and critical thinking to be the next viral trend. And I was like, oh my word, that's me in a sentence, because I am such a critical thinker, but I am also an analytical thinker, aren't I? So
you are. In the best way.
If something comes up for me as a person, I want to work through it and I want to learn about it, and I think I love to learn. Like, I really enjoy it. to a point where sometimes it can be a little bit unhealthy. But it's very good at what I do for what I do.
Really sorry about the squeaky noise right now. I need a drink.
She's having a drink. But yeah, so in terms of, I'm trying to think really when I came across it. So when you first came into the bridal shop, I don't think I knew about money mindset, because me looking back now, I realized there was still quite a lot of growth to do. I was worried about raising the price of the dresses. I was worried about when we hit the VAT threshold. I actually remember saying things like, oh, I'm approaching VAT, and being worried about approaching VAT. Whereas now,
I've heard that one this week, you know.
Yeah, and we do hear that quite a lot about the VAT threshold. And now I look at it in a different way totally. So I think in terms of when I first met you and you came to work for me on day one of the bridal shop premises, the business had been running from home for a little while before then, but on day one of bridal shop premises, definitely for the first, how long were we for the first sort of 3-4 years of knowing you, I would say I was absolutely not aware that those things were holding me back. And it was a chat, I can actually remember the chat that made me think, oh, there is a different way to look at that. And when I went with my coffee and to go and speak to a business mentor friend that I had, and I chatted and said that I'm approaching the VAT threshold, and I was approaching it like a problem. Right? I'm approaching the VAT threshold. This is going to be a problem, because I was seeing the stuff on the other side that needed to be done. Right?
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to raise our prices? We've branded ourselves on being competitive, and problem. They said, and it reframed this particular issue for me, and then made me quite aware that, oh, okay, is this coming up in some other ways as well? They said, oh my goodness, this is really exciting. Like, you've reached the VAT threshold. Like, you've been able to take, at the time then it was like 78,000 or whatever it was in a 12-month period. Like, amazing.
Wow.
That's wonderful. This is what you want. You want this really big business, don't you? Not big business, but you wanted a really profitable business or whatever it was.
Like, this is the growth that you wanted.
Yeah, this is the growth you wanted. And I was like, oh yeah, like, what if it is actually the growth I've wanted? So why am I holding myself back? So then I started to unpick it. And I think by the time we looked at starting this business, and as we were going through this business, and some of the similar patterns were coming up in this business in terms of our attitudes towards money and pricing and clients, weren't aligning with where we wanted and knew the business could go. And that's when I think, in terms of money mindset, I was like, okay, I think this is what it is. Let's work through it. And I'm going to do my own work, and could you have a look at it and see if it resonates with you, and do some of your own work. So that must have been 5-6 years ago now.
Yeah, it must have been.
And actually, what I am going to say is that it is like a diet. You have
absolutely,
and I don't love a diet. I hate that phrase. I don't like a diet. I don't like going to the gym. There you go. I said it. You
will have noticed you don't get gym updates anymore, everyone. So yeah.
The gym update was, I tried it for 6 months. I don't love it, guys. I did go. I don't love it. I found it doesn't work for me. What works for me.
Hey, I'm not here to have a go.
No. But what works for me is eating less. That's what works for me. Who knew? But there you go. But it's like a diet in the sense of,
you've got to
needs to be a lifestyle change, right? It needs to be a lifestyle change. And these things will pop up every now and then. And you just have to remember, okay, I've got a tool to cope with that, or I've got a tool for that. Yeah. And that's what business is, isn't it? A lot of tools.
And then also with that, you might fall off the wagon, but you pick yourself back up. And then actually, every time you fall off the wagon, you don't start back at square one, because you've already gained lots of knowledge.
And I think that's it, in terms of when I was saying about empathy and critical thinking, or analytical thinking, as I'm going to call it, is actually step one is being aware. And actually, it's not to say that those things will ever leave you. And we'll dive into some of the patterns that we're seeing in a minute. It's not to say that those things will ever leave you, but actually it's just about you being able to catch the thought as it comes in and say, oh, hi, I recognize you. Like, I recognize you, but actually that doesn't serve me anymore. Or actually, I know that not to be true. Or like that little realization that I had. What is that for you?
Yeah.
And where was your little click? Did you have a little?
I think it was when I actually think exactly like you were saying, when we realised like maybe we weren't pricing ourselves or attracting the right type of clients, and then we started working with Robin Waite. And then I think at that point it was like, oh, okay, the way that I perceive money and think about money is not always the same as what everyone else thinks about money.
Yeah, and that actually, when we paid for that coaching, wasn't it? We accessed a business community.
Yeah.
And actually,
very big eye opener to
wasn't
the rest
that?
of the world.
And actually, is that kind of what you were saying? Like we were all of a sudden in a space of other people that had a bit more of a growth mindset.
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah.
Oh, and like the mindsets that I would have picked up growing up, like money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, you know, those people that have got nice cars, I'm going to say the words, are probably arseholes, or though, you know,
things
that really hard to get money.
Things that have soothed that feeling, that uncomfortable feeling for your parent maybe, or whoever has said it, or even to soothe you in that moment when you might have been saying, oh, you know, that's,
and they probably
really
have said
amazing.
this from them thinking they're coming from the right place, but how I've taken that on and then carried it into my life and potentially could have fed that into my children. You can change that narrative.
Yeah, but it's interesting to know that in terms of, and I'm very aware of this as well, like in terms of meeting people, having discussions, and actually the value of being in business communities and in rooms with people, ideally, but if not, definitely in communities online, wherever it is, paid, freed, whatever it is and looks like for you. I think when you find, it's like you are the product of the 5 people around you.
That's true.
And actually, if those 5 people around you are all operating from a similar mentality, you're going to be the similar mentality to all of those 5 people, because your thoughts get reconfirmed back at you. So you will say this, and then they agree, and then you all agree because you're all reconfirming that.
Yeah, it's like you're externally like looking for that kind of feedback.
Yeah, then you obviously find the people that are going to have the same. But it's interesting in terms of what you said there, that actually I think when we started working with our business coach, and that opened us up to the business community, and then we started to operate in circles of people who were at the place that we wanted to go to.
Exactly.
And we knew somebody, and we have a little phrase, don't we? Be more Bill. And that's just somebody. Bill. That's just somebody that was in that community, and he totally different industry to weddings, but he has similar issues and similar models pop up in all businesses, don't they? And we just really related in terms of our clients seem to go through a lot of the same patterns. Some of the way our business is structured is similar to how his is structured. Some of the coaching that we do is quite similar, but obviously in different spaces. He's our vibe, isn't he? We love Bill. But Bill was closing it was like the 2nd of January, and he's dropping in these wins of like crazy numbers. And we were like, oh my goodness, wow, we are like, and I think now actually it wasn't even crazy numbers. If I look back, I don't think it was a crazy number, but it felt so successful.
It felt far away at that time.
Yeah, but actually also for us to know that's possible, and to then have opened up the circle to people who know it's possible, believe it's possible, and have gone through this process themselves of understanding that money mindset for themselves. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I think I do really believe that quite often the only thing that's holding you back is your mindset.
Yeah, or you, yeah.
And I think I came to that realization of these people that are hitting these numbers, actually, when we look at Bill, like he's not doing anything that's too dissimilar to what.
And I think actually that comes up in so many places, because even in speakers, when we go and we think, oh my God, I'd love to speak on a stage. I don't love to public speak. I have done it in the past, and I think, oh my word, that person looks so amazing and so confident. Like we've been in rooms and seen like the chief of money mindset, Denise Duffield-Thomas, speak, haven't we? And actually at the end of it,
I was like, God, she's just a normal human being.
She's a normal human being. She got up there, she talked about her kids, she talked about her struggles, she talked about this, she talked about that, she gave some good advice, but there's nothing that she said that we couldn't have done, or anything that she did that she couldn't have done. And I actually even remember she stood up there with a chewing gum in her mouth and took a chewing gum out, didn't she?
And I was like, oh, she's a real gal. I love that.
She's a real gal. But it's just I think we think there's this holy grail of like success behind this
Yes.
like silver curtain of shrouded secrecy. I definitely thought that.
Yeah.
Like nobody tells me the things to do. And I've definitely heard that from other people that have gone and done other this week. I've definitely heard that people saying to us like, but no one tells me what that thing is. And I'm like, it's okay, you're in the right place now because we will tell you.
Well, defo tell you.
But there is absolutely something for surrounding yourself with people who have different opinions and are going in the same
Oh gosh, yeah.
as you for sure. So let's
Right.
kind of see what patterns we see most often, right? Because I think this is really going to help people to understand because not everybody works from the same money mindset
No, it's
framing
very
either. They're very individual and very different. So I think in the wedding industry, we see quite a few patterns come up. And
Let's see if you can relate to any of these, right?
Yeah. And because once you know what it is, you can really start to shift it, can't you?
Absolutely. So, first one is avoidance. Anyone nodding along? Like, probably. And this shows up as probably one that I might have said is I'm not a numbers person, or I just want to focus on the creative stuff. And we get it. No one ever starts a wedding business because they're excited about spreadsheets. Like,
that is making me
like
so
no one has ever.
That is my life right now.
But if you're scared to look at your bank account or you haven't checked your profit in 6 months, this is a red flag. Avoidance keeps you stuck in that guesswork phase. It feeds the anxiety. You don't make clear decisions. You are just reactive. And it makes you feel like you are failing when you're actually just like missing a system there.
Gosh, you explained that so well. Yeah, you did. I think avoidance shows up in so many little ways. And I think actually as well. Yeah, he is. He's on his way. He might just be stuck in traffic, honey. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Oh, you said that really well there. And I think in terms of, I think it can come up and quiet and loud. And I think like lots of thoughts, they can be quite quiet and quite loud at different times, can't they? And in terms of maybe this stuff comes up quite loud for you in terms of maybe you're somebody that never opens your banking app or never looks at the money because you'd just rather not know. Or maybe it's just like a bit quieter. Maybe you look at the money and you're good at that, but actually you don't cancel subscriptions and you let them roll over. And some of these patterns you'll see because business and life, as much as people want to keep them separated, we're running from the same mindset, right? And they are definitely intertwined. And the attitudes that you have in your life affect your business, and the attitudes that you have in your business do affect your life. And I think, like you just said there, if you're avoiding looking at things, you're guessing. And you said it really lovely there. And for those of you that have listened to podcasts with us in the past, when we've talked about this issue, we've been quite open about times when we felt really avoidant about thinking we were looking at the numbers, but not really looking at the numbers.
I'm not listening to this.
But actually, if you're not looking at the numbers, you're guessing. And
you can't strategize around.
You can't strategize, and you're making it way harder for yourself than it needs to be. You know, when you get on the scales and you see the number, it's just a starting point, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really mean anything. It's just a starting point. If you'd have not got on the scales, you'd have still been that weight, right? So it's just a number, and that's all that you need to look at it like. It's just information. And when we have information, we can make decisions on the information, right?
That's so true. So true.
The next one, isn't it funny how these have come up, is imposter syndrome. Now, this one, I get this a lot. And actually, I know what it is. And it pops up every time we do something new. And then it quietens back down again when I know what I'm doing, right? And I've learned to now just reframe imposter syndrome as I'm doing something new and my brain is telling me this is new and it feels a bit scary because you're stepping into the next level of growth. So
that is a really good way to frame it.
Yeah. So now, because now we're going from where I feel comfortable, but actually I didn't always feel comfortable at that space. So when I hear about imposter syndrome now, and when we work with our clients through this, I'm looking at, okay, let's look at it as like a symptom of growth. It's just something that is there, but it actually says you're meant to be where you are. Now, we hear things like, I don't feel ready to charge more, or I've definitely heard this one today, this reconfirming cycle of, once I book a wedding at that price, I'll know that I can do more at that price, but I'm not going to tell anyone that price until people start inquiring with me.
That's so true, yeah.
So like they're reconfirming the decision because they're not advertising in that space because it feels too scary for them to step up a level. They're waiting for the clients to come to them, but the clients are not going to come to them if they don't put themselves out there. And you reconfirm that loop.
Yeah.
And
just feeding that loop.
You just feed in that loop constantly, and then you're reconfirming because, oh yeah, I've now not got a client at that price, so my prices were too expensive, I better stay small. And actually, it's never a one thing, is it? But mindset is definitely opening the door, noticing these things, and then we can put like the steps in place afterwards to get you through the door in terms of getting to that next level. I think Denise Duffield-Thomas talks about this, doesn't she, in terms of if you're not experienced enough or you're not worth those higher prices. And I know that she talks a lot on the idea that under-earning is often tied to this idea that success has to be earned through some sort of struggle, or that you're not allowed to feel financially safe until you've done enough.
But then what would enough be? Because
I know. But the truth is, your pricing has nothing to do with your worth as a person. You're not charging your worth. And I think that's why people get a little bit misunderstood with kind of fluffy, charge your worth. That's what money mindset is, charge your worth. When it actually isn't that. And I think that's why people struggle with this concept of, I'm charging my worth. That's money mindset. And this is why we do what we do in the industry and fill this gap, because it's got nothing to do with what you're worth. You're charging for the service, the outcome, and the experience you provide. There's a huge difference between your worth and that. It's actually, yeah, so far apart.
Yeah, I too get imposter syndrome, but mine comes closer to home because not always. I used to sometimes feel like that I would not do a good enough job than you would do as like certain things in our business. And I think
that is close to home. That is really close to home.
really close to home. But that comes from me looking at what I'm good at and then thinking, oh, I can't do that because I'm not good at that part of business.
Oh my goodness.
But
now, oh my word. Not even, it's just about you knowing your skills and me knowing mine.
Yeah. And I've learned that.
And I think just on that point, I just wanted to just absolutely reconfirm your idea here and just to coach you through this moment, because the simple stuff sometimes I absolutely cannot do. And I think some of the time when our clients work with us and they're like, Katie doesn't know where to even split the Zoom screen on Zoom, and I'm faffing around for 9 minutes.
And I come along and just go, oh, you just got to...
Like, you've got your skills and I've got my skills, girl.
Exactly.
Like, I couldn't do it without you. Definitely couldn't do a lot.
I 100% do not work from that space anymore, but I'm talking like way back when probably I went from working for you and being employed by you to then being like business.
Yeah, but also I felt like that in other rooms as well. Like, I don't deserve to be in the expert empires room. And actually, there's no qualification process to get into those events. They don't look in your bank account and say, what do you earn to get into that room? Do you know what I mean? So why did I feel like that? Oh my word, that all those people in that room must be so successful. Actually, when you sit and talk to them and you have conversations with them, we're all going through similar things and we're all doing similar stuff. The actual stuff is that they're in a growth mindset. They're investing in themselves and they're bettering themselves. I remember one year at WedCon, when we leveled up WedCon, I think every time we take a little bit of a level up, whether it's WedCon, whether it's in our own...
I feel the same. I get imposter syndrome. I have a week where I'm like really off and I'm like...
Yeah, or when we might raise prices, or we might say, let's bring in... We know that this is right for the industry. Let's trial it. Maybe like when we started this podcast, right? There's like all this wobble. And when we did WedCon one year, when we had people I'd looked at the industry when I was a wedding professional, and I was like, oh my God, we've got them speaking at our event. We need to do them bestest job ever, because, oh my goodness. And I'm honestly, before we got on stage, hyperventilating on stage, couldn't have breakfast, felt so poorly. because I was just built up all of this anxiety in my head. And I got through it because I can go into really high functioning mode in those moments where this audience have come to see you, Katie, get on that stage and do what you need to do. Tell them your knowledge. But actually, afterwards, I was like, oh my God, it took me a few days to realize what it was, because I was like, why? Why? I've spoken on stages where I've not known anybody in the room, but actually bring 60 people of my peers and it's absolutely crushing me. And then a few bigger names, like our business coach was there, a couple of people in the wedding industry that we'd really looked up to. And actually I'd thought I'd really love to book them for WedCon one day. And they were coming and speaking at our event less than 12 months later. It really shook me. But I love the people that we know, and I love all of the speakers at WebCon, and I love all of the people, most of the people in the Expert Empires room, and I love most of the people that we've ever gone to see on stages and things like that. But guess what? They're just people. Like people. All of them are just people
who actually feel the same, go through the same.
They do.
Also have imposter syndrome, also feel all these things. And that's how I've helped myself through that time, was to remind myself that we're all on a journey. But the different stages of that journey.
Yeah, and I think the point is the people that you look up to have gone through the journey and have done the work, haven't they, to get to that other side. And that's the only secret I can give you in terms of it's that they've done this stuff, they've recognized it, and they've got to the piece of land on the other side of that road by just working through it. And hopefully we're showing you that actually sometimes, I know in my personal experience, I can't speak for everybody, these things might come up a few times.
Yeah.
Like in different ways sometimes.
They do. These little gremlins is always there.
I think the next one you're going to talk about now. I think is one that a lot of people will relate to in terms of probably comes from quite deep, quite far back, doesn't it? I think
I would agree with that. And that is that scarcity mindset. And like you say, this is a big one right now. And not just now, it's really ingrained in quite a lot of us. And that's that belief that people don't have money. And I've heard it a lot, like January, February this year, from people that I've spoken to, is that no one's booking, people don't have money, no one's going to pay that price in this economy right now. And we're seeing people discounting before they've even been asked that.
Yeah.
Extras for free, or saying yes to clients that aren't a right fit just to keep that money coming in.
I had a discussion with somebody this morning, and I wonder how many other people can relate to this, but somebody that was rejecting bookings because they'd worked out in their head that if they had a couple of smaller bookings on that day, that potentially they might make more money. So instead of taking the actual booking that's on the table at a good price, they were turning down that work based on the idea that what they did, they could emulate in a few different weddings at once.
Interesting.
And isn't that interesting? And then we had a conversation and I helped them to flip that script in terms of, it's interesting that's what you've done. And actually, there were a few little scarcity things that came up in a lot of the conversations. And even when I said, let's put a number, and everyone struggles with that. We always find that on our sales calls, don't we? And we hire Robin. Robin is a coach in our community now. He is amazing at what he does. And we want to bring the best of the best to the people we work with, don't we? So you can see the moment the penny drops for people. And that is one of my favorite things, when he does those things and he pushes people, because we felt that uncomfortableness as well. Where he's like, it's just a number. Give me a number. It's just a number. And I saw it today, and the client said a number of what they wanted for their middle package to be, or their average booking value, but then they immediately dropped it down by £100. And I was like, I'm just going to catch that there for you, just so that you're aware of what you're doing, so that, because once you're aware, we can change it. But it's just a number, right? When we see Robin do that on the call, it is, people are like, they're like, oh, okay, what what's your price? And they're like, oh, what do you want to earn in a year? Oh, and it's just a number. It's just a number. And then
people find it really hard to
yeah,
like
and then when they start to
to
work through it and he says it's just a number, and then we break down that number and then we break that number down again very simply. And this is all done in 5 minutes, guys. Like, it's so good. And we've been through this process of us going, oh my God, don't ask us, don't ask us. But actually, when he does it, and he does it in the room, and those of you that have seen him at webcons in the past will understand this process that he does, you actually come to it and go, oh, that's actually very achievable.
yeah,
And
and you're like, oh, actually, when you put it like that,
it's just the moment that it just clicks between scarcity mindset into growth mindset.
yeah, absolutely. And it's such a good shift. If you feel like you're in this kind of scarcity mindset, like I beg you, please just do some work around this, because it can change your life. And what we often see is the way that you believe. As I was saying earlier, people don't have money. Money doesn't grow on trees. No one's going to pay that much. That's a projection. You're assuming your client thinks the way that you do. And it's like, if you wouldn't pay 2.5 grand for photography, that doesn't mean your ideal couple wouldn't. Like, you are not your ideal client. That's one of those things that we say over and over.
I know. Yeah, I think we did a podcast on that very first one. You are not your ideal client.
Right, you are not your ideal client, and that can be a massive light bulb moment. So just think about that. And honestly, discounting because you're scared is one of the quickest ways to train people not to value what you do.
Yeah, and I don't know if many people know of Alex Hormozy. He's big in kind of gym circles, but he does it because that's what his business was on. He bought a gym and scaled a few gyms, but he is now in the Stephen Bartlett, Daniel Priestley kind of space. He does a lot of these big podcasts. Anyway, he says price is just a reflection of perceived value, not your cost. And I did a call this morning, and we talked about this, and we got that little light bulb moment where I actually said to them, look, if this happened, if you were locked out of your house and you were stood in the rain and you phoned up a locksmith and were like, it's going to be, I can't get to you for 4 hours, but it's £100. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'll see if there's anybody else. And you phone up the next one, and the next one says, I can get to you in 5 minutes. You'll be back in your house in the next 10 minutes, and it's going to be £300. Which one would you go for? And it's your perceived value. And they said, well, to go for the other one. And I said, why? Because I'm stood in the rain and I want to get inside. And there's so much actually, and I try to spot this in me when now, because we all value different things in life, right? Some people value time, some people value, there's just lots of different things, and it's different for different people, right? You can be delivering the most flawless service, but if your branding feels very DIY, your emails feel apologetic and a bit unsure, and your prices feel like you're apologizing for them, that perceived value drops, because value and premium pricing is actually identity and confidence. That's it. Do you see yourself as the go-to certain wedding professional for a particular type of couple, right? Or are you still positioning yourself as that affordable alternative without realizing? And that affordable alternative was what really caught me in terms of, I'm trying to build a business to scale in the wedding industry. I can only do that at volume. And actually, if I change my model and I change my pricing slightly, I can get there in half of the work.
Yeah. And we've seen clients completely shift their income without changing anything about their services or their products. And it's just by tightening their messaging, updating their pricing structure, and doing the mindset work to hold their prices without wobbling. Because that confidence, let me tell you, is contagious. When you quote with that certainty, when you show up like the expert, when your website backs it all up visually and it all comes together, couples feel that and they trust it. But when you discount too quickly, or you fumble through that pricing conversation, or you don't come across as confident, it sends that message that you are unsure, and unsure doesn't feel premium. And if you are feeling unsure, you're going to project that onto whoever you're speaking to.
Yeah, and people don't book uncertainty, they book confidence, don't they? So this is what takes me back to, I don't care what your price is.
It's not
You
the price.
need to believe it's never the price, right? It's never the price. But you need to believe like that you can deliver that price. You need to understand the value in that price and be able to communicate the value in it. That's what it is. And that's what happens when people end up with wrong messaging or wrong pricing or wrong branding or just tweaking their Instagram again and thinking that's the answer. But it just isn't those things. So we've already given you like a few really good bits of advice, but let's get into the
I feel like we've got some passion. We've got so passionate about this today. I feel like we're like I'm nearly eating my mic when I'm speaking.
But let's get into practical kind of shifts for people to be able to just pause, notice, and to be able to just rebuild. And I think rebuild is a good word, actually, because I suppose that's what you are doing. You're breaking down some maybe quite ideas and thoughts and framings that might not have even ever started with you. They might come generationally for a long time. So in order to break them down, start to rebuild your own thoughts and feelings based on what you experience, what you know to be true, and where you want to go, right? And what serves you.
So what can we actually do about this? There are 3 things we walk clients through regularly. So first, start treating your business finances like a flipping business. That means
not only your business finances, but actually your business. Start treating your business like a business, guys.
Yes, please. This means separating your accounts, knowing your profit margins, having a rough tax plan. You don't need to become an accountant. You just need to understand enough to make confident decisions. I'm so thirsty today, I can't speak. Secondly, stop anchoring your price to emotion, right? Take yourself out of the equation. It's not about you. You're not the product. You are the service provider, and your job is to charge in a way that reflects the value and the outcome.
I think the biggest one really is this one, isn't it? Stop waiting to feel ready. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. That's why those feelings come up, because it feels new. It comes on the other side of action. The only way to build confidence with pricing is to hold it, to try it, to hold it, to say the number. Let things happen, let the silence happen. Let people walk away sometimes. But your belief builds when you see it working. A, not when you rehearse it 100 times in your head, but B, also people try it once or twice and then go, that doesn't work. That reconfirms what I said. I'll drop my prices again. No, that's not accurate. We have to do it 30 times, guys. 30 times, and then we've got to read. And 30 people, we want to see, I really want to remember what Robin said on the call. My clients will be shouting into the podcast now. I'll have to get it and put it into the blog. But I think it was like 3 or 4 will say yes, and you're about right when you're looking to change prices in that first little period.
So hold your nerve for 30.
For 30. Yeah. Doesn't that feel scary? It does. But actually, he says at that point, and obviously as a business owner, you can do whatever you like. You can say, I'll test it for 5. Test it for 5 and see how you feel, and then test it for another 5. The thing with businesses, it's your business, you can chop and change, and nothing is permanent, nothing is stone. So you can change it. It's not carved into the wall in stone and your like, prices are there now forever. It's font on a website. That's all it is, right? It's just a number. So
take that emotion away. I say that all the time too.
Yeah,
we see it with our own clients, don't we? The moment they stop over explaining, they stop apologizing for charging more, and start showing up like they believe it, the whole energy shifts.
Yeah,
feel easier. Sales calls stop being awkward, and they attract people who trust them instead of challenging them. We had a client who came back after Christmas and was like, oh, in 2 weeks I'm going to increase my prices, and I was like, sorry, what are we waiting for 2 weeks? Why are we not just taking charge of this right now? Like £200
and doing the things to get
Guess what?
to get
He
that.
increased his prices and he got bookings.
Congratulations.
Well done.
So here's what we're saying. The people that have done it are not magical beings at all. And we share these stories to show you that it's possible, to show you. And I definitely felt like there was some thing that other people knew that I didn't know.
What is this secret sauce that people have
really, it's if you have been avoiding little things, if you're noticing some things come up for you, maybe you're stuck in fear a little bit or feeling like you shouldn't want to earn more. Maybe there's feelings around that about as a woman, and you need to share and you need to be generous and you need to be, or maybe negative things come up for you when you think about money or you think about sales. This is your nudge now to go, okay, I'm going to start to work through this. You are allowed to run a business that pays you well. I don't care what your number is, as long as it's paying you well, as long as you are making profit on the other side. And this is when you were saying before about knowing your numbers, like revenue isn't the same as profit. And I used to really struggle to really even talk as frankly as this to people because I thought, oh, people won't like me because I'm talking about revenue and I'm talking about profit. How silly is that? The people will think, oh, isn't she some kind of brat?
one of the most important things in business.
Yeah. What kind of a woman talks about money? Women don't talk about money like that.
I tell you what kind of woman. A strong ass. Business owner.
No, I tell you what type of woman or man or person, a CEO of their business. And a lot of our clients are really stepping into their CEO energy at the minute. And I love it because they've really understood this kind of, okay, this was tough, but I put my CEO hat on and I put my suit of armor on and whatever they need to do to get into that moment to know that they can get through this next bit. You're allowed to feel safe financially. You are allowed to have breathing room, and your mindset matters just as much, if not more, 10 times more than your marketing.
Yeah, and I need to say as well, this isn't about becoming somebody that you aren't. It's about unlearning the stuff that's been keeping you from undercharging, over-delivering, and second-guessing your value. And this is where that kind of money mindset, the things that we have been fed and learned growing up, do those phrases and money mindsets serve you now? I would think about that because potentially they don't. So take a minute after this episode and ask yourself honestly, what layer of this do I need to strengthen next? Is it the confidence, the identity, systems, maybe positioning? And pick one and focus on that. Start right there.
I just want to say, if there's a particular business coach in the wedding industry that I know listens to our podcast, and I just want to say, hi Bernadette.
Hi Bernadette. Are you on your dog walk?
And your dogs and your lovely puppy and dogs and family. I hope everyone's okay. But Bernadette, again, someone I absolutely just looked up to and was like, oh my God, Bernadette's absolutely amazing. Look at all this stuff.
Now she's listening to you on your podcast.
Oh, I just wanted to just say hi, but yeah. Oh no, I've had that moment again that someone's listening to me. It never, ever gets old.
Never gets easy.
Hi Bernadette, and you might be listening to this thinking, I'd love to do what the girls are doing and get my own podcast, or maybe I'll be somebody that they'll be talking about. Maybe I'll be that next success story or that next client. Just start, just think about it, get out of your head for 2 minutes. And if this episode has given you something to think about, please do share it with another wedding industry friend, mate, who would love to get some of this actioned in their business as well. Really loved this episode. Really loved being back with you, Roxy. We will be back soon with more. We'll have a virtual little huggle. And I think it was just perfect to just finish this episode how we started that very first one, just with the girls for one last little moment. So we'll just leave you with their wonderful little voices. We know that you heard them before, but we will see you on the next one for just Katie and Roxy. And you never know, maybe in 20 years, mini Katie and mini Roxy will be doing what we do. My daughter's already done Zoom calls and done Christmas party.
My
Zoom
daughter's a
calls.
little bit more reserved, so.
Maybe, we'll see. See you on the next one, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Hello, I'm Katie. I'm Roxy. Welcome to today's podcast. Today we're talking about social